It took one round. The Black Beast versus Chris Daukaus, man. Derrick Lewis, he is your UFC's knockout champion, my man. 21 knockouts in his MMA career, but the UFC record specifically is 13 knockouts, right? So Derrick Lewis is now number 1. Now tied for number 2 is Matt Brown and Vitor Belfort at 12. Tied for number 3, Anderson Silva, Anthony Johnson, and Thiago Santos at 11 knockouts, my man. So we knew that this was inevitable. The longer Derrick Lewis fights, the more knockouts he's going to get. That's the type of fighter he is. And if you go to a decision with him, you are a very skilled fighter. That takes a Blagoy Ivanov. That takes a Alir Latifi, Francis Ngannou. Those are the guys going to decision with Derrick Lewis. Other guys are just getting starched out. But, AJ, this is one of those things where I said it in the pre-show, and I feel terrible about it. I get no joy in seeing a Daukaus brother get knocked out because I do believe he's still the future of the heavyweight division. But 30-pound weight disadvantage does not work out for everybody. Tanner Boser is one of those fighters who will take the big weight advantage. Chris Daukaus, Cyril Gane. But I said it. Daukaus is not Cyril Gane. He's not as fast as him. He's not as an elite of a fighter. He doesn't move the way Gane does. He's just different. He has his own skill set. He's a different fighter. There's nothing good nor bad about that. It just is, right? And against Derrick Lewis, when he walks forward and isn't too patient and isn't just sitting back waiting for the counter, you can't eat those shots. But Chris Daukaus did. He ate a couple of them before he went out. And even Derrick Lewis said it in the post-fight presser. He was all like, oh, I hit him with that bomb. Okay. Oh, you're not out yet? Okay, let me give you one more. You know, like he was like talking through it in his head, like, all right, I just had to go H-Town on that boy. And he did. AJ, if you were gonna like kind of review this fight film and you were gonna say this is an adjustment Daukaus should have made, what do you think that adjustment should have been?
Put 2 down the pipe and then dip out, man. Take the Cyril Gane approach and literally stay on your bike, get Derrick Lewis tired. Because this is the fight you did not want to have against Derrick Lewis, man. He was laser focused, letting you come into range because he knew what he was going to do once you did come into range. But all Chris Daukaus needed to do is maybe 2-3, a quick little 2-3 combo, and then dip, get out of town, literally keep running. If you got to turn like Cyril Gane did a couple times where he just literally turn away and run, get out of there because this dude has some serious power. That would have been the only big thing to change because Daukaus was landing a couple good shots, but homeboy Derrick Lewis could eat for days, man. He would, like you said, excuse me, went H-Town on him. In H-Town over here in Houston, and not in Austin, but in Houston, they get down, man. They scrap up a little north, man. Very impressive. Worst time to fight Derrick Lewis coming off of the L. He felt we were talking about ego. We were talking about pride before. He felt his ego. He was a little bruised. His pride was a little hurt. That's when you're most dangerous as a man going forward. Big bombs coming from the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis. Rough for my boy Daukaus, but hey, that's what it is when you're a heavyweight, man.
And you got to respect the humility in Chris Daukaus after the fight. First off, why did they interview the man who just got his block knocked off? I don't know. I don't agree with that. Bisping, a little bit of an interesting choice. Then again, you don't know. Maybe Daukaus was like, hey, please, let me talk. Let me get on the mic real fast because I'm all good. It was just a little flash knockout. But he was like, listen, man, I knew what I was getting into. This is heavyweights. This is what happens. I'll be back. You got to respect it. He will be back. He's the future of the heavyweight division, man. We said it. Even if you lose, it's not like a huge knock on you. But then again, it's like, don't you kind of wish you would have built him up a little bit slower? Didn't you fast-tracked him a little bit too fast? Like you went from Shamil Abdurmakimov to Derrick Lewis, who is literally the best fighter not named Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane, or Stipe Miocic right now. So we'll talk about matchmaking in a second, but I do want to say this, my man. I agree with you. And that's what I said in the pre-show about Chris Daukaus and how I says Cyril Gane had to run for his life in the early rounds. He was smart enough to know that. And Chris Daukaus is a man who has to take a couple to give a couple. And he trusted his chin. He trusted his hands against Lewis, man. And this is a scary man. You just can't really do that, man. So it's like there's no knock for that. I admire the courage to be able to go that route. But either way, just not the smartest game plan against a man 30 pounds heavier than you in any sport, really. You know what I mean? That's even like a dude I'm going to shoot for the double against the dude 30 pounds heavier than me. It's like, well, if he sprawls, you're in for a long night, man. It's like, you know what I mean? It's a big weight discrepancy. So big win for Derrick Lewis. At this point, the Stipe Miocic fight, and we'll talk matchmaking literally in next, but I don't know where we go. Unless you fight in Stipe, you're in limbo in the heavyweight division right now. AJ, I want to ask you, do you think that this loss, and then we'll move on, but do you think this loss for Chris Daukaus jeopardizes a potential bout with Tom Aspinall in the future?
Actually, no, man. It might bump it up a little bit. It might make the fight a little bit closer because now they gave Chris Daukaus the fast route going forward, but now you got to back him down a little bit, fight a little bit more of the prospects, the up and comers. With Tom Aspinall, he can be a contender real quick. I think it makes the fight a little bit closer to being seen, more so than further away. I don't know. What do you think?
Listen, I'm not sure. Just because I don't listen, I know how I view Tom Aspinall. Clearly, I guess I'm the man's #1 fan. But in the UFC, I just don't know how the fuck they feel about him because they're not showing him nearly the love that Chris Daukaus gets. But Chris Aspinall, pre-fight, he had said that the future of the heavyweight division was like him, Cyril Gane, Tom Aspinall, like these names, Francis Ngannou. He's like, we're the future of the heavyweight division, all that. So I'm just glad that Daukaus showed some love to Tom Aspinall. Like you said, real recognize real. We talked about that in the Slack chat. All right, folks, that is your main card breakdown, and that is the final main card breakdown for the year 2021, the UFC's 2021 calendar year.